Ross joins us on the Chick-fil-A Breakfast Team phone line. Good morning, Clarence. How are you?
Good morning, Jim. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Always great to catch up with you. I have to share a conversation I had with Coyote here a while back that, of course, played at Grand Junction, played at Mesa.
Yes.
He said to me, he goes, I didn't know Clarence Ross went to Fruita. He seemed very disappointed that you're a Fruita grad. He goes, I always thought he was a Tiger. I just thought that was so fun. As long as Kai's been around here, I'm surprised he didn't know that you actually went to Fruita High School back in the day.
Yeah, well, my dealings with Kai, we were at Grand Junction High School, and he was a great athlete, a great person, and just a super young man to be around and stuff. So,
well, of course, I'm sorry, go ahead, Clarence.
I had nothing.
Well, of course, let's go back to that 66 team. We were on that line with, of course, a lot of great talent on that football team. Rich Paris toting the rock from a running back standpoint. He also played some linebacker as well. Guys like Steve Stone played on that team. Take us back to that team a little bit, because certainly the man that brought it all together was the late, great Bill Noxon, the coach of the Fruita High School Wildcats, who would go on to coach at Grand Junction High School and then Western State. That Coach Noxon was the kind of leader that could just really galvanize a football team and get everybody on the same page in quick fashion.
Yes, he was by far and away our best weapon, by far and away. He had us believing that we could do anything and that we should go out and get it done. And he was just one of those people in your life that you'll do almost anything to make sure you don't disappoint him. And he had high expectations for every person, treated every player the same, whether you were Rich Paris, the star, or Clarence Ross, just one of the guys. You know, he treated us all the same, and we just had a great thing. And he taught us to win. He taught us how to win and win with class.
Well, the Wildcats had gone to back-to-back state championship games in 64, the loss to Julesburg 14-10, and then in 65, the loss to Lafayette 19-7. And I know when Rich was on with us, Clarence, he said that the expectation for you guys in 66 was that a lot of talented players had graduated, guys like Joe Silva and my cousin Don, Rich's older brother. Those guys had all graduated, so you guys weren't expected to do a whole lot in 1966, and you shocked everybody with the kind of season that you put together.
Well, I guess nobody thought we could do anything other than Coach Knox and us, so I guess that was the important part. He played that very well with us. That we were just a bunch of. We had Rich, he was very beneficial to have. He's our star, and then the rest of us were just pretty much average athletes that Coach Noxon got the most out of, and we just bonded together and said, we will get this done. We've been in these state championship games and come up second place too many times. Let's get it done. So,
Clarence Ross, a member of the 66 Fruita High School state championship football team. They won the 2A title in 66, beating Yuma 27-0, came up with back-to-back shutouts. Semifinal shutout of John Mall 49-0, and then beat Glenwood Springs 43-14 to move to the semis and then on to the state title tilt against Yuma. Talk about that line. You're part of that offensive line back in the day. We talk a lot about Rich, the toe to the rock for that Wildcats football team and others. But that offensive line, that's the key to success, was successful, or was the reason for your success back in 66. Talk about that line a little bit, Clarence, and some of the guys who were up front, like yourself, open up holes for those backs.
Yeah, we, like I said, we're pretty much just five average athletes that Coach Noxon had made sure that we felt good about ourselves and that we could get it done. We had Trent Spradling. He played left tackle, and he went he was a big boy. He went, 250, I think, in high school, 230, 250. So he was a big boy. And then I played left guard, and not quite that big by I was at the most 150, they said, but I never did weigh 150 in my high school career. But Dr. Husky's scales were very favorable to me.
Yes, I stepped on those scales a few times myself growing up out in Fruita.
Yeah, they were favorable to you.
Yes, they were.
And then Robert Echeverry played center, and then Steve Stone played right guard, and John Orr played right tackle. And like I said, none of us were standout players or anything. We were just all pretty average kids and pretty average players that said, hey, we can get this done. We took a lot of pride. Coach Noxon took a lot of pride in us, gave us a lot of credit, probably more than we deserved, but made us feel good about ourselves, and we just played hard. And we had a goal. Most of us worked in the hay fields and stuff during the summer, and I know we'd work in the hay fields from 6 to 6 and then go lift weights afterwards, and we said, hey, we're going to do whatever it takes to get this state championship. We're not allowing another one to skip by. And that's kind of how we just did it. We just went out and did it.
Clarence Ross, a member of the 66 Fruita High School State Championship football team, one of our teams today in our Western Slope High School football showdown. The other one, the 2003 Fruita Monument Wildcats team, that was the runner-up to Loveland in the state title game. Well, let's go back to once again to 66 in that season, Clarence, where was there a game or a moment that you felt like was kind of the turning point where you guys really knew, hey, this could end up being a special season. This could end up being the year that we don't finish second place in 2A football. Was that moment there a game that you can remember that was kind of that moment for that football team?
Our opener was kind of that we felt we could get it done and everything, and Coach Noxon told us that people couldn't score on us, they can't beat us, and so we definitely took that to heart, and we were playing rifle in the opener, and they scored 14 points on us. And we just said, no, nobody else. If they don't score, they can't win and stuff. So we just started playing really good defense and said, and the next points that we gave up were in the state quarterfinals to Glenwood. And so basically that was kind of a turning point for us because we had the offense and everything. We just had to get our defense to play along with our offense. And I think to me that was when we really said, hey, no, nobody scores, we don't lose, let's go, let's play.
Well, and obviously you did. You had the back-to-back shutouts in the semifinals and the state championship game against John Mall and Yuma, respectively. Clarence Ross with us today on the Jim Davis Show on the team. The Glenwood game, was that at Fruita or was that at Glenwood Springs back then? Because I imagine that there was probably a pretty large crowd of Western Slope fans to take in that game back in '66.
That was in Glenwood Springs and stuff. It was a good game. They were talented and stuff. We were just fortunate, and we played very well and got a big lead on them. And they, we just then had the fortunate experience to get out of there with a win and come away and go on to the semis, and it was fun. And then we played John Mall, and they weren't quite ready for us. I think they thought they could run over us. They had a pretty good halfback and pretty good fullback and stuff, and we just took it to heart that they weren't going to score on us.
You mentioned that defense and how good that defense was, in particular those last two games of the playoff run. What made that defense so special? What allowed you in terms of maybe scheme or just the talent you guys had, Clarence, that made that defense so good?
We really played together well, to be honest with you. There wasn't anybody that was looking to be a star. It did not matter. Everybody did their job. Coach Noxon really stressed us. If you had gap responsibility, don't be leaving your gap until everything's taken care of, and we just flew around. And, we were fortunate on offense. I mean, Coach Noxon was very, very good on offense at that stage of high school football, and he would just always come back and praise the defense early in the scouting reports on Mondays and stuff about how we did and everything, and just built us up. And we just felt like we didn't want people scoring on us. We did not want them to get a first down, let alone score, but that was unrealistic.
But you guys sure gave it a good run. Particularly, your defense came out and pitched a couple of shutouts when you really needed it to in the semifinal, of course, in the state championship game against Yuma. Clarence, I want to ask you, you've coached around the Valley a lot over the years. You were out at Palisade with Joe. You were at Mesa with Joe for a while as well when Joe was the head coach of the Mavericks, and you've been out, of course, coaching at Fruita with your nephew Cam. For you, when you decided to start coaching, what were some of the things that you learned from Coach Noxon that you and today, even helping out with the Wildcats out at Fruita, that you learned from Coach Noxon that you still you were things that you learned from him when you were a young guy that you still use today with some of the young football players that you work with?
I think the number one thing is that he treated everybody equally. It did not matter. You got your praise when you did your job. He reminded you that you were important when you weren't doing your job, and that we wouldn't win or we would not play our very best if everybody didn't do their job. And that's one of the biggest things I ever took away from him. And he was always he wasn't quite as emotional as I was. I guess I wish I could have controlled my emotions a little bit better than like Coach Noxon did. But he was pretty low-key and just kept it, very, very simple for us, and just play hard and go.
Well, Clarence, I appreciate the time. Thanks for taking us down memory lane back to 66 for that Fruita High School state championship team. Still the only team to win a state football title at Fruita High / Fruita Monument High School. Clarence, I appreciate it, and best of luck to you and Cam the Wildcats this year.
Well, thank you very much. It's been my honor to talk to you. Have a great day.
You too, likewise. Clarence Ross joining us on the program today. He was 100 and, well,